So it's incredible to be here for me. Every time I stand with the crew behind me, I feel grateful to join someone like Rosa, who's been at this for as long as I can remember, before I even got into public life. And on my side, my captain, Sherrod Brown, to allow me, when I came here 10 years ago, to be a part of this was extraordinarily hopeful for me. And that hope was delivered upon, as was said in some detail, when we got the final expansion of the child tax credit. And as was said earlier, it proved something. We have now proved something pretty phenomenal, and at the same time, pretty obscene. And what we've proved is that poverty for children in America is not some accident, it's a policy choice. This moral obscenity of the richest nation in the world having the highest poverty rates is not an accident. It's not destiny. It's not inevitability. It is people in this institution making a policy choice. And what makes it more offensive, what makes it violence to our virtues, is that it is a self-inflicted wound, costing us $1 trillion to our economy. Children who grow up below the poverty line have higher health care costs, have worse performance in schools, have lower productivity, and often have higher rates of criminality. We would rather complain about problems on the back end, like healthcare costs, disease rates, violence in our neighborhoods, than make a conscious policy choice that saves our economy money, that expands opportunity, that creates GDP growth. And so I don't know this for sure, but I think I'm the only person up here that for the last 25 years has lived in a low-income black and brown community. And the data that my team put in front of me, it could sound just like numbers. 5 million children right now would be out of poverty if we kept this 5 million children. Well, let me tell you about kids I know. I've seen how people get evicted over a few $100s. A mom with 2 young kids, lucky enough to get into a school, but now has to move school, take their child out midway through a school year. And the only penny she could scrape together gets a substandard apartment. She didn't know it had lead paint in it. She didn't know it had mold in it. And now she's struggling with health problems for herself and her children. And her children now, having been pulled from school to school, are doing worse. And they're in communities where they're more likely to be victims of violence. And the stress and the strain, it's literally changing the development of their brains. Who are we as a nation where this is a story repeated millions of times of struggling moms, struggling families who want the promise of the American dream that anyone born anywhere can have a shot, and we just took it away because we prioritize in this country things that have so far less of a return, not to mention the moral madness of this failure of Congress to expand the child tax credit. Not to mention all those families without children in poverty who are still finding it harder to make ends meet, who still find themselves with more month at the end of their money than money at the end of their month. This is a defining moment of the character of our country. And while we have proved that policy can make a difference, we have failed to do what this country should do. Be who we say we are. A nation where everyone has a shot. Everyone can make their dream come true.